everybody in person. Hi, everyone online. Here we are. It's Friday. Thank you for showing up. So it's pretty predictable. We either start in a comfortable seated shape or you can start lying on your back, whatever shape is most supportive for you today at 12 o'clock. That shape can change. You could start sitting and then realize that that's really not so supportive. And then you could come on your back, or you could start on your back and then realize that's not so supportive. So, where I'm heading with that is you have total agency over the next 45 minutes of your practice. So, as we all move and breathe together, please remember that if something doesn't feel safe or supportive, you can back out at any time. Also, as we're moving, if you want to add a little more challenge and make something a little bit harder or more challenging, please take the practice and do whatever you need to do. It's about you. Okay. So, with that, I'm going to be quiet for a little while and give you an opportunity to also be quiet. We'll start simply by making that connection to the earth, to the ground beneath you. And giving yourself a moment to feel your body in relationship to the ground, to the earth. And just how does that feel? How does it feel to have your body being supported by the ground, by the earth? So, practice of embodiment. So, coming into our bodies, practicing from a place of mindful self-compassion, meaning, trying to be pretty nice to ourselves, being kind, being curious. So as we have this relationship with the body, with the earth, noticing how that feels. And if you're feeling supported, you're feeling a little more anchored, a little more grounding, add your breath to the practice. Here is your body having an experience with the earth. And if you're feeling supported, it's having an experience also with your breathing. You feel the inhale and feel the exhale. Feel the ground, feel the earth. Full commitment exhale means that we really pay attention to the exhale and we let the exhale happen all the way through to the end. So we can use the breath, especially the exhale, to help us stay a little more present, embodied in the experience. So as you feel the breath, feel that exhale, full commitment, letting that breath go. You might also use the breath to help you feel the ground, to feel the earth. We'll take about 30 seconds here in silence. And then again, back to that mindful self-compassion, curiosity, kindness, noticing your experience with your body, with the breath, with the floor, with the ground, with the earth. And then let's shift gears just a little bit and define what we mean by core in this class. So when we say yoga core, uh, core is going to be from the shoulder area all the way down through your pelvis. So it's this rectangle. And then I really like to add the hips and the hamstrings. I like to add the back of the legs to this idea of core. So from the shoulders, front, side, back, all the way down through this rectangle, and add your hamstrings. So we're going to slowly bend your knees if they're not already. And if you're sitting, come onto your back. So we come into this constructive rest shape, and we're going to use the earth for a little bit of feedback. So right now, with the floor, we get to be really pretty symmetrical. Your ears are stacked nice over your shoulders over your ribs, over your hips. And then we have this neutral spine. So that natural S-curve spine. And remember, we're all different, right? So my S-curve is a different shape than your S-curve, but S-curve gives us some imagery that we can go back to, okay? So from here, we're gonna take your arms up towards the ceiling. And imagine you have some weight in your arms and your shoulders are gonna draw into the floor. And then come back to the core area, right? Did your ribs pop up? Did you shift your pelvis? You still feel ears over shoulders, over ribs, over hips. And then with those weights, they're imaginary. Pull your arms out really wide like a T towards the floor. And then pull your arms back up towards the ceiling. Great. So you can add internal resistance. So you could pretend you have 5 pounds of weight, or maybe you have 20 pounds. And you're going to reach your arms out really wide to stretch through the chest. And you're going to pull that weight back up. So you might imagine you had like a TheraBand, one of those big long exercise bands, maybe weight, a couple dumbbells. I'm going to do 3 more. And then on your third one, when your arms get out like a T and they're just hovering off the floor, we're going to pause. So let your arms just hover off of the ground about an inch, and then feel what you can't see. So draw your awareness to your ears over your shoulders. Did you pop your back ribs up? We're trying to keep those back ribs heavy on the floor, back hips heavy. And then between the shoulder blades, under the shoulder blades, through the bottom of the arm, out your fingertips, nice and strong. So we're trying to feel the back shoulder a little more under the blade into the tricep. 2 breaths. And then you're going to sweep your arms just behind you. So not up towards the ceiling, sweep like a sun salutation and try and keep your spine down on the floor in that neutral curve. And then take your arms out to the T. Rotate your palms down and bring them down by your pelvis. So arms are just hovering off the floor. Try not to move your rectangle. Try not to move your spine. Just move your shoulder blades and your arms back out to the T. Spin the palms up, reach overhead like a sun salutation, stretch long, and then back down to the T. Rotate your palm down, thumb by the hip. Okay, so not up towards the ceiling. Try and take it out to a T. Rotate palms up, maybe more like an I. Does that help? You're reaching overhead more like a Y. Then you go to like a Y down through the sun salutation, rotation, thumbs into your hips. 2 more, nice and long. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Get really wide across the chest. Imagine there's something just a little bit out of reach that you really, really want. And then the next time your arms are overhead, hold the arms there and outstretch your legs. So this would be like the top of a standing mountain sun salutation. And just give your body a nice, strong, long stretch. Can you keep the back ribs down? And then come all the way back to that rectangular core feel. Back of the shoulders, ribs, hips heavy. 2 breaths. Just your arms are going to exhale up to the ceiling and then down to the floor. Let's bring your right knee up over your right hip. Up to you. You could hold on to the back of the hamstrings. We're going to do 3 hamstring stretches. So bending and straightening your right leg. Just getting into the back leg. If your hands are on the hamstring, you can feel the muscle. And then the next time your right leg is a little bit straighter, pause. 3-point inflexes. So really push out through the balls of the feet and pull in. So you could feel this from your heel. Your heel pulls in and pushes out. And then on the 3rd point, we're going to hold that right leg there. And then a little more for your core. So you can keep your hands on the back of the right leg or bring the arms down to the floor. Feel your left leg. You're going to exhale, pull the left leg up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, slowly push out through the left heel and lower the left leg. Try to keep the spine down, keep the hips heavy. 2 more, pull the left leg up. Push out through the left heel, lower it down. Try not to pop your ribs up. And then 1 more. When that left leg comes up, hold both legs up towards the ceiling and come back to the neutral curves of your spine. Can you feel those neutral curves? And then you choose your challenge, either both legs lower down together or maybe one at a time. And we come back to that constructive rest pose. 2 breaths to reset. Come back to your body, breathing with the floor, with the ground. Feel the earth. Second side, when you're ready, left knee comes up over the left hip. Your choice, either hold on to those back hamstrings or don't. You can have your hands out wide or on the back of the leg 3 times. Bend and straighten. Just waking up the back of the leg a little more. And then with that left leg a little more straight than bent, 3-point inflexes. So feel the heel push out and pull in. And then when your left toes are pointed, get ready. You're going to exhale, pull that right leg up to the ceiling. Use resistance like you were pushing through warm water. You're going to lower and control that right leg down. Pull it up. Slowly push it, release it to the floor. Last one. When both legs come back up towards the ceiling, pause. Can you feel the back of your hips, pelvis nice and heavy? And then for some of us, a little more challenging just to feel the tailbone. See if you can feel your tailbone, like it's going to roll out like a really happy monkey tail. And then both legs lower down, one at a time or both at the same time, nice and slow and controlled. And 2 or 3 breaths on your back to reset. Just as you reset, it's an opportunity to come back and feel the ground and the earth. Your body having a relationship with the ground and the earth, your breath having that relationship. Breath, body, earth. Maybe feel that full exhale. And then we're going to draw your knees into your chest and roll all the way on up to standing. So if I remember right, Tuesday was pretty wrist heavy. We'll try and save our wrists. We did a lot in tabletop on Tuesday, right? It wasn't very popular, I don't think. So we'll save the wrists. We'll come all the way on up to standing and take a wide stride. All right, it's supposed to be really nice this weekend, so we might want to garden. So I've been getting a lot of requests like, can we do some stuff for gardening? So we're gonna, I'm now calling this the garden squat. So, or the weeding squat. So you take your legs out wide. The thigh bones need to press back into the hip sockets, okay? So thigh bones are gonna press back, and remember, we're all really different. We're gonna warm into it. So we're gonna do 5, and you can go a little lower each time. Chest up, chin up, okay? So be mindful that you're not coming way out like this. We're trying to keep the chest up a little more. Arms can be pretty close to your body, and you're gonna go down. And eventually you're going to have to pick up, some twigs off the ground or pull some weeds. Your knees are going more over your middle to outer toes. And as you all know, by coming to class, I'm not good at doing and counting, so I'm going to assume that was 5. Can't do both at the same time for some reason. And then we're going to bring our hands into our hips and step the feet together. Great. I'm just going to find that standing mountain and take 3 breaths. So it's an opportunity to come back a little bit like when you were on your backs or seated on the floor, feeling the ground. Feel the ground and the earth. And then your body in relationship to the earth. How does that feel for you? And if that feels supportive, add your breath. The breath in relationship. If you're not feeling supported, right, maybe have a seat, take a break. 3 breaths. We're going to step your feet wide. So if you're here in the space and you want to step wide to look out at the lake, feel free to do that. I'll say left and right and you'll catch on, right? So we're going to take your left leg and roll it in. You're going to take your right leg and roll it out and go about heel to heel. So come back to that feeling of the earth and the legs. And then your core. Remember how we define core? Shoulders, stack over ribs, stack over hips. So try and find that rectangle and then bend your right knee to your liking and pause. So from your upper back a little more, just like when we were on the floor, stretching the arms out wide, take your arms out wide into that warrior 2. So your right arm floats up over your right thigh bone and your left arm reaches straight back. And then come back to feeling your body in space. Are your ears back over your shoulders, shoulders stacked over your hips? And then the relationship of the arms reaching out from the upper back. 2 breaths. We're going to exhale, straighten the right leg and sweep the arms up to the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale, bend the knee and come back to that warrior 2. Great, 2 more. Exhale, sweep it up. Inhale with your breath bend. Last one on your own. Hold this time, 2 breaths. Sweep it up with your exhale. Hold your arms up like that eye. Right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. So you're going over to the other side. Hands can come down into your hip sockets for a moment. Reground. Feel the ground, feel the earth. Bend your left knee to your capacity. Define your core. And try not to change the shape of that rectangular core this time as you take your arms out nice and wide. Ears, Over shoulders, over ribs, over hips. 3 breaths. Hold just long enough you can really feel your experience. And we start the movement. Exhale, sweep up. Inhale, bend. 2 more from your breath. Great. Bring the arms up. Turn the legs in, wide legs. Bring your hands to your hips. Heels in, toes out, back to your garden squat. Up and down. You choose how low you want to go. We're all really different. So in my body, if I go really slow, it's a lot harder. You might find it's a little more challenging or a little easier to go fast. Figure it out, feel it out for you. How does this feel? 2 more. Great, last one. Nice. Then we come up, feel the earth for a couple of breaths. Feel your body's relationship to the ground. Notice how that feels. What's your experience? No one hears your answer but you. Left leg rolls in, right leg rolls up. Feeling the ground, feeling your core. Right knee bends. Arms swing out, warrior 2. Great. Adding a little challenge to just soften your chest, soften your throat. With your exhale, straightening and reaching. Inhale, bending, warrior 2. Exhale, straightening and reaching. Warrior 2. Great, last one. We're gonna straighten the right leg and stretch the arms up. You're gonna keep your arms up, bend your right knee. We're gonna add a little movement. We're gonna tip over into that side angle, and then we're gonna come right back up. So hip tip, feel your hip tip. Your core stays in that rectangle shape. So you're just taking the rectangle, right, and tipping it to the side. Great, and then we're gonna come up. One more for good measure. Great, and then we come all the way up, arms up, reach, stretch, right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out, hands to your pelvis, hips. Let your left knee bend, build your foundation. From that foundation, connecting with the earth, warrior 2, arms stretched long. Come back to that feeling of the upper back arm. Soften the chest and the throat. 2 breaths. Then some movement. Exhale, reaching and stretching up. Inhale, warrior 2. Remember, nobody stays together. We're all moving because we're all moving differently based on our breath. Next time your left leg is straight, your arms up, we pause. Give yourself a little stretch and bend the left knee. Good, then we add the tip and we come right back up. 2 more. And you feel that rectangular core box, it's just tipping to the side. You don't have to change the rectangle very much. Try not to side bend too much. You're just taking the rectangle. Feel how that rectangle just tips, comes back up. Great, and then we go back to center. Good, this time you're gonna ground through the legs and reach really high up, stretch, stretch, stretch. Wide leg forward fold. Take it nice and long all the way up and over. Hands can be on the thighs, the shins, the floor. Check in with your low back and your hamstrings. No need to overstretch. So adjust and move as you need. Give yourself 2 or 3 breaths to notice your experience. Full exhale. Then we're just going to lift the chest a little bit. So there's lots of places you can put your hands. You could put them on the floor. You can put them up on your shins. You could put them up on your thigh bones. We're going to rock side to side. So it's going to become like a side lunge, right to left. So try to keep your hip creases and your sit bones pushing straight back. You're going to go side to side out into those lateral outer inner hips. Keep breathing. We'll do one more to the right, one more to the left. And then we'll meet back in the middle. We'll take another forward fold. Check in with your hamstrings and your low back. Adjust as you need to. So that might mean you have to bend your knees a lot or lift your chest. And then feel the ground and push down. Use the ground to help you come all the way up with an exhale. And then just sweep your arms out and up. Great. Exhale, arms back to your hips. Left leg's going to roll in. Right leg's going to roll out. Feeling the legs back in relationship with the ground and the earth. Bending your right knee. Using the upper back strength a little more to find that warrior two. Exhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, sweep it up. This time, we're going to hold the warrior two for a couple breaths. Reach the arms up. Great. Side angle, tip it over and come right back up 3 times. Tip it over with your breath. Inhale, bring it up. You got it. This time, hold if you want. Right elbow to right knee, left arm up towards the ceiling. Build that side angle. Good, you got it. Feeling, connecting. Notice your experience. 2 breaths. Great, exhale, come all the way on up. Sweep the arms up, keep the arms up. Rotate the right leg in, the left leg out. Strong legs with the earth. Build your left side warrior two and just hold for a moment. Feel that foundation. Reaching out. Exhale, legs straighten, arms stretch. Inhale. 2 more, exhale, reach. Inhale. Good. Last one, we come back, just hold that warrior two for a moment. You soften your chest a little bit, reach out a little more across the upper back. Then 3 side angles, you tip and come right back up. Got it. Remember, you can't really do it wrong. You're moving with your breath, checking in with how it feels, moving and adjusting internally as you need. Then you build your side angle. 3 breaths. You got it. And you soften your chest, soften your throat. And come up to that warrior two, all the way straight legs, reach the arms. Great, so you're gonna rotate your legs back forward. Great, heels are gonna come in, toes are gonna go out, and then we're gonna go down in that squat. Take the arms down and in, and out and up, 3 times. You got it, great. We reach out, big like X, Y, stretch it. Good, rotate so your toes face a little more straight ahead, and then that wide leg forward fold, reach. Come all the way up and over. Wide leg forward fold, adjust as you need to. So if you need to bend your knees, we want your hamstrings to get a little bit of a stretch, but we don't want to feel any jamming or pain. Then we're going to lift the chest, put your hands back on your shins or your thighs or in your hips or on the floor, and then we go side to side again. Now, when you go side to side, try to not let your low back sag to the floor. So in previous classes, we've worked a lot with engaged breathing and navel to spine and lots of techniques to stabilize the low back. Those techniques can come into play here. So I'm trying to feel not only the movement side to side, but also that strength in the lower abdominal, lower back area. 2 more to the left, 2 more to the right. And then you're going to pick one side. I'm going to pick the left side because it's closer to the front of my mat. I'm going to hang out there and then I'm just going to rock around or lunge around and build a downward facing dog. So pick which way you want to face. Build your downward facing dog. So it's a little bit of like a yoga crawl to a down dog or a tabletop. And remembering in your down dog, this is more so about your low back. We just did a whole bunch of poses for your hamstrings. So you can bend your knees quite deeply and really press those sit bones back to get into the low back. And then I'm going to be quiet so you can notice your experience. Earth, body, breath, 3 breaths. And then back to that place of mindful self-compassion. Notice your experience. Lower all the way down to tabletop. Great. And then we're going to come all the way down onto your belly in prone mountain. So you can come, if you're comfortable, coming all the way down on the floor. If you're want to practice this standing up, you're going to go super close to a wall. Okay. So you could also stand vertical and use the wall. You're going to bring your nose as close to the floor wall as you can. You're going to feel your sternum going down into the floor or into the wall. And then we line up that pubic bone. And we're just going to let the floor support the front body. And give ourselves 2 breaths. And then a lot like how we started, using the earth for some feedback. Can you feel how your shoulders stack over your ribs, over your hips? Then we're going to lengthen. We're going to try and pull your legs back. So if I could walk around the room, I would come pull your pinky toes and I'd pull your pinky toes back out of your ears. And that might give you that physical, energetic feeling of more length from your ear to your shoulder through your hamstrings out your toes. You're going to pull those toes. And then we're going to ground the pubic bone. So feel that front pelvis pubic bone, push it down the floor, and then lift those 2 legs as high as you think you can. Lift, 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 lift your legs. And then lower them down. All right, add that connection of navel to spine. So we want to also keep that low back happy. Okay, so if you take an exhale, remember how you can feel your navel draw towards your spine. Now, you don't have to hold it rock solid. We want some movement there, but that's the feeling we're going for. Okay, so strengthen the low belly, get that tone on. Keep the low back as long as you can, and then pushing that pubic bone and lift those legs as high as you can. And keep them long and take 2 or 3 breaths. It's probably pretty challenging. My heart rate's going a little bit faster doing it. And then lower the legs. Woo! Maybe it's only hard for me. Right leg's gonna lift as high as you can. Now the leg is different than the hip, so keep your right hip bone down. Feel that pelvic crest in relationship to the leg. Keep the hip down and just lift the leg. Lower the right leg. Keep the left hip down and just lower or lift the left leg. So we're gonna go side to side here. We're gonna do 2 more on each side. So you're learning to feel the pelvis and the leg. The pelvis stays down, the leg lifts. So this is hip extension. 1 more. And then both legs come down. Give yourself 2 or 3 breaths. Let things rest that can rest. You might come back to your experience of the earth holding you, your experience of your body with your breathing. And so the hands can come down by the lower ribs. And if this is not friendly on your wrists, then stack your forearms out in front of you and put your forehead down on your forearms, okay? It's hard because this mic goes in the way and I can't really demo it totally, but you'll know what I mean. I'm gonna have my hands by my lower ribs. And then we're gonna lift the chest a little bit like a baby cobra. And we're gonna lower down. So we'll create the movement. We're going to check in with the strength piece as you move. So as you're lifting and lowering, can you feel your spine move? And your shoulder blades stay firm on your back. You're not moving your shoulder blades. You're moving your spine. And we want to try and move that thoracic middle spine a little more than the neck. And do 2 more. Then we're going to lift the chest. So it's a little baby cobra. And then you're going to add the leg piece, push into the pubic bone and lift the legs as high as you can. And then lower everything down. Take 2 breaths. And then either rest, or if you want to keep going, lift the chest with an inhale, lift the legs. Exhale, lower down. Little more challenging, you straighten the arms out behind you. So your thumbs are reaching back, your pinkies are reaching back, and you lift it all up and lower it down. So we'll work here, maybe do 4 more, or maybe rest. As you're moving, remember to listen to your body. Your body will tell you something. You're going to respond, hopefully from a place of kindness. You don't need to overdo it. Moving in relationship to your experience of the body, moving, breathing. And then we'll come down and we'll rest and let everything rest that can rest. And you're just going to notice the ground again and then feel your body breathing. We all feel the breath somewhere different in our bodies. We're just going to feel that space for 3 breaths. Remember that full exhale. And then we're going to plant your hands by your lower ribs. You're going to take a big fork in the road. Some of us might push back to child's pose. Some of us might push up to, say, tabletop or straight arm plank. So if you want something, that's more of a strength challenge, go ahead, push up to a plank and hold your plank for 5 to 10 breaths. If you want something that's less of a strength challenge, you can come to tabletop. And by all means, you could push all the way back into a child's pose. And if child's pose doesn't work, you can roll onto your back and draw your knees in, or just come on your back to this starting constructive rest shape. So plank, tabletop, You could do a floating table. We'll take a little fork in the road here for about 20, 25 seconds. Of course, if you're in plank and you want to turn it into push-ups, you could do knee push-ups or straight leg push-ups, right? Add a challenge if you need. And then give yourself 2 or 3 breaths, and then we're all going to meet on our back. So we'll come down, around, through, and we're going to end up on our backs. Whew. And let's just bring, if it's comfortable, I'll invite you to bring a hand onto your sternum heart just to let your chest have a moment to settle. Some of us tend to carry quite a lot of tension in the chest, so putting a hand there might feel nice just to give your body a reminder to let go. And then we're going to draw your knees up into your chest. So your hand will come off your chest, and you're going to take your knees then wide towards your armpits, towards your elbows. And then a little more challenging for most of us is going to try to keep the back hips nice and heavy and the tailbone rolled out. So you keep in that neutral low back, and just give the groins, the inner hip a little stretch, the inner thighs a little stretch. And then with your next exhale, putting your feet down on your mat, nice and wide. So you're going to put your feet down, like my pinky toes come off of the mat. In fact, actually my whole foot does, but that might be too wide for you. Pay close attention to your back. We're just going to drop the knees in. So you're going to have some internal rotation here. You can push your knees together. And then again, I would invite you to put your hand on your chest if you find that beneficial, to soften and relax a little bit through the throat and the chest. And then 3 breaths. And then again, from a place of mindful self-compassion, check back in. Grounding back into the earth, your body's experience with the ground, with the earth, with your breath. We always take the last few minutes of class for self-care. So this is the time that we check in with ourselves. Maybe we need some rest. And we just kick back and find a really comfortable place and relax and breathe. Maybe there's a part of your body that's a little achy and tender and needs a little extra support. You might pay attention to that and give that part some support. You might be a meditator and take a few minutes here to practice meditation. So we're going to take the next 2-3 minutes here in silence, giving you an opportunity for your own self-care. Just noticing what you notice. Just spending a little time there, noticing. And coming back, arriving into your breath. Just notice an inhale and an exhale. And opening your experience to the space around you. So you might gently open your eyes. If you're on your back, just slowly wiggling your toes, maybe drawing your knees in and rocking a little bit. As you rock, you could have your eyes open just to look around and see the space, the room around you. Just kind of blending what you're feeling with the space, with the room around you. And then when you're ready, we'll roll all the way over to the easiest side and come all the way on up to sitting. Woo, we can interlace our hands and just do one more stretch up. Just kind of stretch through that back, little side to side. Thanks everyone online. Thanks everyone in person. Happy Friday. I hope you have a great weekend and we'll see you on Tuesday. Thank you.